Welcome in, everybody, and we have some breaking news. It's unfortunate news, but Hunter Biden's plea deal has evaporated. Or it might evaporate, or it evaporated and it might reconstitute. We don't really know. But the bottom line, let's talk about Hunter Biden's plea deal. Tim, I know you're excited. We talked about this a few times. We got lots of things. How are you today, man?
Doing good.
Yeah?
It's, at least my plea deal didn't get thrown out. So.
Oh, yours is still up in the air?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, I legit, I know we've talked about this a whole lot. And by the way, if you guys are enjoying the content on Second Legacy, please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn the notification bell on. But, Hunter, wow, sorry. I just called you Hunter Biden, and I apologize profusely.
But Tim, okay.
I don't think that's okay. I'm sorry. So we've hit on this a few times, Tim. We've hit on him coming in, getting a special sweetheart deal. We've talked about how he has a semi-automatic revolver and images magically. We've talked about other women who came in and had the exact same charge, but they went straight to federal prison. This just seems like a cherry on top, doesn't it?
Yeah. He had to plead guilty. Now, there's been speculation online. Everybody's chiming in. His plea deal's completely thrown out. It's over. He's going to prison. But chances are they're just renegotiating something.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there seems like there's a whole lot of hoopla over it. I don't know. It just seems like a bunch of legal wrangling.
I think hoopla is a very accurate term. I think that's good. But as we've seen this year so far, we've got the Hunter Biden, rules for thee, not for me. We've got Alec Baldwin, rules for thee, not for me. We've got a civilian who actually was in Virginia who actually got the rules because they were for thee and for me. It's not a good look. But you know what? Let's dive in. I'm sure there's something that we can uncover, Tim. We can bring some clarity. I feel good about it.
All right.
Senor producer, could you throw up the title for me? Hunter Biden pleads not guilty to charges after judge questions revised plea deal. Now, Tim, this is the funny part because, remember, they had a deal going in, didn't they?
They were supposed to, yeah. He was supposed to.
Yeah.
He wasn't supposed to plead not guilty. He was supposed to take a plea deal.
Exactly.
He was plead out to lesser charges, but those lesser charges got yanked. Yeah.
Yeah, isn't that weird? It's almost like a judge looked at it and went, excuse me, what?
Yeah.
Like, you want to do what now? I mean, for the people at home, this guy has a gun charge that is quite literally 10 years in federal prison because he's the president's son, gets a plea deal to go guilty on not tax fraud. That's not the right thing.
Tax evasion.
Not
paying taxes in a timely fashion.
There you go.
Yeah.
The Al Capone on something he's never held a job for, Tim. It's very odd. It's odd on these streets right now.
And you're talking about that. I read one of the newspaper articles that the judge had ordered Hunter to go get a job and stay off the sauce and the drugs, but told him to go get a job.
But it's so mind-boggling to me. And this is before we even get into the plea deal. The idea that Hunter Biden and his legal team and the prosecutor came down and decided, you know what? You've got a federal gun charge, and that's 10 years in prison. So why don't we plead guilty to tax evasion for 2 years on $1.5 million, of which you had no job, you offered no services, you own no businesses, there's no way to point where it came from, but maybe you can just get in trouble for avoiding the taxes, not where that money came from, and that way we don't go in jail for gun charges. This is the most mental gymnastics I've ever seen, and that says a lot, because we look at gun controllers.
Yeah. What the irony of all this, of course, is the fact that, President Biden would like to jam each and every one of us up on similar charges if he could, right? In
Everyone.
The 2A community. There's no way you and I would get any type of sweetheart deal. We would just get thrown in the slammer. They would forget about the key. And here we have, the president's son walks into court, strolls in there all like, yeah, man, I'm on top of this. And then bam, the judge decides, that the deal that was struck was unconstitutional, at least in some aspects, threw out part of it. And now they're back to the negotiating table, but at least a judge looked at it and said, no.
Yeah, I think that's the most beautiful part about this. If anything happens after this, we'll let you guys know. But I think the most beautiful part about this, Tim, is the judge looks at it and just laughs and goes, "Are you serious?"
Yeah.
Like, okay, let's get into it because there's so much more here, and I found this so fascinating. Senor producer, could you do number 2, please? Hunter Biden, son of President Joe Biden, pleaded not guilty to federal tax charges Wednesday, pending a judge's approval of a revised plea deal his lawyers hashed out with prosecutors in court after the initial deal collapsed. We just covered that. So number 3, sir. Biden's original agreement to plead guilty to misdemeanor tax charges, $1.5 million is misdemeanor, by the way, Tim.
Yes, at least if your last
clearly.
name is Biden, yes.
Exactly. Fell apart amid a dispute over how his plea would impact an ongoing government investigation. Now, let's put that under the microscope. I wonder what ongoing investigation they could be talking about, Tim.
We don't know. Well, they shut down the Coke in the White House investigation because they blew up the bag of Coke. They blew it up.
I saw what you did there with the references.
Yes. Pun.
Very well played.
But,
well, I wonder though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No, I mean,
there's something going on, I'm sure, but
yeah.
Go ahead.
I mean, I'm sure it's none of those things we can't mention or talk about on YouTube. I'm sure it's none of those things.
No.
But let's continue. Let's just keep going. Let's see what happens because number 4, Mr. Producer, shed some more light in here. The 53-year-old Biden had initially appeared in U.S. District Court in Wilmington, Delaware, to enter a guilty plea a month after federal prosecutors first revealed the criminal tax charges against him. His attorneys had reached a separate pretrial diversion agreement with prosecutors on an unrelated firearms charge, those court filings shows. But, of course, the plan fell apart under scrutiny from the judge about details of the plea deal. Now, for those at home, Tim, do you want to remind us what the gun charge was and the penalties and all the things?
Yeah, he lied on a 4473 form, and he's also a prohibited person because he's an illegal drug user. And those, under normal circumstances for, just regular peasants, would be pretty serious.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird that the background checks for everybody, for everything, for every time you look at a gun, all of a sudden, mistakes happen. Yeah. I mean, come on. His father just loves his son. Come on.
He didn't know he was lying on the 4473 form, and then when he found out he had a gun illegally, he acted like any responsible adult and threw the gun in a dumpster outside of a school. So,
Yep. But don't worry. From that personal experience, Tim, maybe this is the catalyst. From that personal learning experience, maybe Papa Biden, the big guy, gets to decide that that's where all the gun control safety legislation comes from because he lived it firsthand experience, Tim. Maybe that's it.
That's it. And let's not forget that they tried to invoke the Bruin decision in his defense.
Oh, Tim, that's why we have you here. You're right. They did. I'm pretty sure, Tim, that they said that it was unconstitutional because other courts had held it to be unconstitutional for the 4473 to say medical marijuana users couldn't have firearms. And then they invoked the Bruin decision, the son of the man who's saying everything against Bruin is okay.
Yeah.
You can't make this stuff up.
No,
Tim.
the hypocrisy is so thick.
It's
chainsaw worthy.
You might need acid. This is so bad. It's like hypocrisy encased in more hypocrisy and then with a little bit of condescension and arrogance with some media jam cover-up. Yeah. It is so bad. But
it'll never get any play in the news because it's about guns. So.
It is about the guns. Thank you for bringing this back in center.
Yes.
So, sarcasm for anyone for the first time. All right, Mr. Producer. Could we go number 5? Excuse me, Senor Producer. Got to put it right here. Prosecutors said the agreement on the tax and gun charges were distinct, but during the hearing, Hunter Biden said he wouldn't agree to plead guilty to tax charges without the diversion program and dismissal of gun charges. Well, wait a minute, Tim. If he truly did it, why is he so adamant about not going down for the gun charges, but he's okay with the tax charges, which are implicating money came from some? Why would he do that?
I don't know. Maybe he wants to remain a gun owner.
maybe that's it. That's it.
Right after he got done in court, he ran out to an alley and bought himself a new blaster, and he's been hanging out outside schools and dumpsters ever since.
You know what? Well, dumpsters, yeah, for sure. But let's look at this pragmatically. He is avoiding the problem that got him in trouble in the first time with 4473s. In your scenario, he's bypassing that because, really, it's about common sense gun safety. And you don't want to get in trouble for the same thing because that'd be bad.
Yes.
That'd be very bad. But let's continue because I don't think he wants to go to pound me in the foot prison. I think that's really what it is. So, number 6, Mr. Producer, let's round this out with a real good hypocrisy. Weiss, by the way, who is the prosecutor, had also offered Biden a pretrial diversion agreement on a separate felony charge of possessing a firearm as a user of illegal drugs, Weiss said. Biden in 2018 owned a Colt Cobra revolver, despite knowing he was an unlawful user of and addicted to a controlled substance, court documents said. The gun charge carries a penalty of 10 years in prison, but the deal with the prosecutors is expected to mean that Biden will avoid any jail time. So the reason I put this in here is kind of what we already hit on for the Bruin part, for the whole arguing against the 4473s with, controlled substances and that whole oyster.
Yeah.
So you remember the image, Tim, that we had where we showed it on screen a little while ago where it was a semi-automatic, but...
It was a Beretta, but now they're saying it's a revolver.
But,
yeah.
But now it's a revolver. It was clearly a semi-automatic. I think you were actually very astute to point it out.
Yeah, we know of 2 guns now because he has pictures, but they're only talking about one.
So it's weird.
Yeah.
I don't know why they'd only talk about one. It's so odd. And the reason that I like covering this, and this is the thing, if you guys are watching for the first time, the reason that this is so massive is because this isn't just about Hunter Biden. This isn't just about Biden gun control. This isn't about unconstitutionality. This is about a overall ethos of everything doesn't apply to me, but it does apply to you. If you look at the left and the way they've defended Alec Baldwin, if you look at the left, the way they've washed this under the rug with Hunter Biden, all the while ignoring anybody who actually goes to prison who's not a special class. This is the nut. This is the whole thing. I mean, Tim, if this were to get out, that's the part that sticks. It's not Hunter Biden got it or he didn't get it. It's the different rules for different people that is so disgusting.
Yeah, and you'd think this would offend more people and people would be up in arms about it, but, we're doing these tribal politics now, so as long as it's happening to the guy on the other team, we don't care. And it's just heading down that path of tyranny really, really fast.
It is. It really is. It really is fascinating how all this is going. Oh, by the way, little side note, totally exciting. FPC, I don't know if you know, Tim, FPC filed in support of the Chevron deference case at the Supreme Court. I just wanted to throw it out there.
Very good.
I'm really excited
Very
about
good.
That. Very excited. Speaking of tyranny getting, bringing up. But I think going back to, I think that's the big thing. The big thing is these executive bureaucracies make whatever rules they want. You've got the elite class deciding they can do whatever they want, but the rules are still for you. We can't have guns in this country because they're evil, unless you are one of the president's sons or you're someone of very high import, in which case you can do whatever you want because the rules are not there for you. They're for the plebeians.
Yes.
Meanwhile, the rights across the board, Tim, those aren't for the plebeians. They need to be controlled because they can't have their rights. Everything else, the rights are for the elite. Didn't you know?
Yeah, I mean,
did you not get the memo?
Gosh, just take a Harvard constitutional law class. I mean, everybody knows the Constitution protects the right of the government to have power over the people. I mean, come on.
Wait a minute. Was that a Davy Hogg reference?
Mildly so, yes, because he's an idiot. But
you're not wrong. But maybe that is what they're teaching these days. Because again,
yes,
these rights are not for everyone, Tim. I mean, come on,
just for the people that want to have them, that have power and money, and you don't. So
right?
Shut up, go to work, pay your taxes, and die. So.
Yeah. And then they're going to spend those taxes, by the way, infringing upon gun control laws against the law written last year, and they're just going to take all the red flag laws anyway. Yeah, I'm getting sour, Tim.
Well, anyway, until next time, we'll save some of those sour grapes for the next episode, folks. If you'd like to be part of our call-in show, there is a link in the video description below. Follow that link and fill out the questionnaire, and we'll try to get you on the show. We'll have a good chat. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you guys soon.